extremely hot. That vest weighs about probably between 13 and 15 pounds. And if you add all the other equipment that an officer puts on, it's about 35 pounds. So, but they're effective. Now, the vest costs about $1,000 each, and the manufacturer says they're good for 5 years. So every 5 years we buy new ones. But in my opinion, and very fortunately for us, our city leaders agree, it's one of the best life insurance policies we can give our police officers. As a matter of fact, we're even getting them for the dogs now too. Two things I want to brag about real quick, and then one of them is, I was telling Betsy before we started, if you come across US 42, the BP station there by Freedom Drive, if you happen to stop at that traffic light, look to your right in the traffic box, the big silver traffic box there, you'll see a little box mounted on there, and it's got a Florence police sticker on it. A couple years ago, about 4 years ago now, I was out directing traffic, and that's one of the most dangerous things we do. It's dangerous for the officers, it's dangerous for the public, because if the traffic lights are out, people, are not used to that. And I thought, well, why can't, if the electric's not working, why can't we figure out a way to get some electric to it? I have a van that has an inverter in it. You plug it into your cigarette lighter, and it'll power regular electric. So we got together with the state, and the state was wonderful to work with this, and we were able to take almost all of them now. We're still working on a couple more intersections, but the major intersections in the city now have these little boxes on them. If the electric goes out, think of Kentucky 18 and Houston Road, how big that intersection is. It takes us 3 police officers to direct traffic there. And if it's hot or cold, you need to have extras so you can rotate them in. So 4 or 5 officers to handle one intersection. Folks, if all the electric goes out, we ain't got that many cops. So now we've bought inverters, or you can use a generator. That's got a switch in it. You run the switch up, plug it in, and an alligator clips to the battery of the cruiser, and it runs the traffic lights. And all for about $5,000 or $6,000 that we used seized drug money to buy. So no tax money. And I'm very proud of that. I think it's one of the best things we've done. And the other thing is, a couple years ago, we were given 10 acres of land in Williamstown, down where CSI trash is. It's about a mile from their dump site. And we were able to build a firing range, a shooting range, which had become in short supply because more agencies and more people having to shoot. And we were able to build a canine training facility there and an obstacle course. And once again, it was all built with seized drug money, so no tax money. And a lot of other agencies use that range. Those are two of the better accomplishments I think our department's done recently. Okay, like I said, I'm getting there, I promise. You may, some of you, remember these? I know Betsy does. This was the patch that the city used before I started, but I kept one of those. When I came on, this was the patch that we had. And this, for those of you, I missed Ted Bushman. Ted was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful man. But when he would see this patch, man, did he get mad at me. Anybody see why? Think of where Ted worked.
Airport.
Airport? What's that plane doing?
Crashing.
He swore that plane was crashing.
Nice.
So we changed our patches and had them where the airplane was going up. But this is one that was still going down. And then we switched to this, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago or so. And this is the patch that we use now. And there are rockers on the bottom that for a little bit of pride for the officers, if they're on the SWAT team, they'll say SWAT or accident reconstruction, K9, that type of stuff. And then this was one we used many, many years ago for our K9 officers. And so anyway, those are there. I wanted to point out 2 things. When, as part of our 50th anniversary, and once again, Betsy was a big help with that, what we were able to determine was those are the only patches that Florence has ever used. We've only used 3 different badges since we've been a police department. And the one was like the badge that Cincinnati wears now, and the mayor, Diane Whalen, found one of those when her father Hop passed away. We didn't even know this was used. And we found a couple old pictures then with that badge on. So we're thinking that would have been late 50s, maybe early 60s. And then we switched to what they call the clamshell badge. And that was, this is a hat badge, but that's the badge that's been in use since about 1962, 63, and still in use today. And then, and if anybody wants to, but in 2008 for our 50th anniversary, and once again with a lot of help from a lot of people, we went for a year and we did an anniversary badge. And that was Lenny Cloyd, Captain Lenny Cloyd designed that. And I just think it's a great badge. And what we did was, once again, using Seats drug money, we were able to buy those. And that's what that badge looked like. And each of the officers that were working at that time got that badge with their badge number on it. And then they were given that badge at the end of the year to keep. And finally, last thing, I promise.
You were talking about here going way back. I'm telling my age, but I was raised here on Main Street in Florence. And our trouble was everybody in Florence had heated, was cold.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a couple of people, and we all knew them. Everybody knew who they were and everything. And when you got a load of coal, you didn't have much money that you could get a whole load, but you had, like us, we had a coal house, coal shed.
Yes.
And when it would, you got it, and within a couple of days, if there was snow, you could trace their footprints all through the town of Florence back to their house. And we had one when about in 43, and we had one addict. And what he was addicted to was Coca-Cola and Bear aspirin.
Oh.
And he would get high on that, and all of the girls in Main Street and all up and down here, we knew to keep your blinds down because he would look in, thank you.
Wow.
He would look in the windows, and finally they sent him down to Lakeland, saying, oh, he had a problem, because they didn't know how to treat
Yeah, well,
some of those guys.
and I hate to tell you, I'm not sure we're any better today at some of those treatments.
So we knew, but we kind of, well, we know their mom and dad, and just look over them and everything.
Mm-hmm. And there's still a little bit of that today, but it's a lot more transitory.
Okay.
Last thing, I'm sure you've all seen these. What this is, and I'm not superstitious, but you've seen these over the years.
Yes.
And we do that for Police Memorial Week in May. We have had several firefighters in this county killed. 2 airport firefighters, a Burlington firefighter, Al Hugh, the first chief of Florence. We have not had a police officer in this county killed in the line of duty. And I would love to keep that record intact forever, and I hope we do. And a lot of the things that I've told you hopefully will help that happen. But questions? Betsy, what I'm going to do is, for the Historical Society, I would ask if you would take these and keep those for if you ever do a display or if you want them for a display.
Great.
I'm very proud of the history of Florence Police, and that's it. And the badges, the patches, and I really appreciate it.
In a display case in the museum and proudly show those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you. I have a question about drones. Do you ever foresee the time when Boone County or Florence would ever need drones? And I understand they make them real little. They can just hover over places.
Back in the mid-80s, we actually looked at a helicopter, because helicopters are wonderful. One of the other dangerous things for the public and for officers are pursuits, vehicle pursuits. And helicopters are a huge benefit to reducing those. The problem that you have here is the airport, because a lot of the airspace is restricted. So to put something up, whether it's a drone, a helicopter, it limits the ability to do that. So the need, once again,
Does the state have some?
I do not know. Some of the larger departments do. Miami, New York, Philadelphia. I have a friend who is a deputy sheriff out in Colorado, and they have helicopters because he said to go from one end of the county to the other is 436 miles. So they need to get somewhere, and so, I can understand that. I don't know, I'm not so sure you want to see more satellite-related stuff versus the drone stuff as the satellites get better and better. But, could you use them? Oh, sure. Yeah, there's always enough that you could find something useful.
Someone's got
Somebody's got
fireworks.
fireworks.
Those fireworks, so that's fine.
That's fine.
Um,
Once again, folks, thank you. The little badges we give away all the time, so thank you.
We appreciate so much your coming and talking to us, even though we were a bare bones group.
Nah, that's okay. Hey, appreciate it.